Welcome to part 2 of our Rainbow Series. We call it the Rainbow Series because we are going through the energetic anatomy of our spirit that's known as the chakra system. Now, each of the major 7 chakras, it's a power center. And as we connect to the power of each chakra, we are able to show up in our lives in a more authentic way. Now, the author Carolyn Myss said, "Life on Earth is all about learning to manage your power." And that is the theme of this particular Rainbow Series. Now imagine that our power is our currency. It governs our health and our well-being. It's our vital life force energy. Now we are, with every choice we make, we are either investing in our vital life force energy or this choice is costing us. So we learn to manage our personal power by learning to become aware of how we're spending it. Now imagine that you have a friend or a family member that needs some help. And you have a bright idea that could help them. But then you think, well, if I give them this idea, then what if they continue to need my help and I can't show up for that? I don't have the energy. It would end up costing me. Like I just can't deal. Like it'd be too much for me. That choice then to not share this bright idea can end up costing us our vital life force energy. If, on the other hand, we remember the spiritual truth that God is all things, right? All are one. We can make a different decision then. And we would decide, well, I'll share this bright idea because they can take that idea and run with it. And I don't need to be present for every step of the way. I can say no to going along with this whole idea. This all I have for them is the idea. And that's the best I have to offer at this point in time. And so this is a wise investment in our vital life force energy. And this is how we are gaining empowerment through each chakra, right? Chakra by chakra, being empowered. So today, right here and now, I'm going to be talking about the power of the Sacral Chakra, which is our second chakra, represented by the color orange. Now, this chakra governs our personal connection to the world, and it shows up in our creativity. And when I say creativity, I don't mean like as an artist or working with our hands. It's our way of expressing ourselves. It's how our soul expresses through us, for us, as us. It's how we are creating our experiences through our way of thinking and acting. It's how we are productive in our life and bringing ideas and experiences to life. This chakra also governs our relationships, and not just relationships to people, but also to our belongings. Now, the root chakra, the first chakra, it governs our connection to our physical experience, and it's where we start our journey of empowerment by recognizing that all are one. Now, with the sacral chakra, our journey of empowerment continues into the spiritual truth of honor one another. Now, we honor our relationships when we have reverence for the divine within them, when we can see the divine within them, no matter how they eat, vote, pray, or parent. When we have reverence for the divine in others, then we can empower them. When we empower others, we empower ourselves. We have to, because if we're seeing the light in others, we have to be in our own light first. Now, here's the challenge of our sacral chakra. The idea that there is not enough. That if I give you something, if I empower you in any way, then I am losing something, right? There's not enough for both of us. Not enough for both of us. Now, I had this experience back in 2017. Back then I started entering this contest almost on a yearly basis. It's a music contest. But the first time I entered it, I was real excited. It's positive thought music, kind of music I write. I was so excited, but I didn't tell anybody about it until after the contest was over, and I didn't win anything. But I didn't say anything because I knew a couple of musicians who were really great musicians, and I was afraid that if I told them, they would enter and then I would never win anything, right? I was afraid that there wouldn't be enough for me and they would get like all the awards and all the attention, right? So that's the challenge of this chakra, right? If I give something to you, like then I'm missing out. It can also be The challenge can look like, if I give something to you, I'm getting in over my head. It'll be too much for me. For example, if you get into caregiving for someone, it's hard to, like, the idea of caregiving is that, well, if I could just do it for this day, it'd be okay. But often caregiving turns into something extended. And so we may be afraid to show up to help another person, worrying that it could end up being an extended thing. This happened with me. I was already caregiving my mom and my aunt, but then I had an acquaintance who went into the hospital. And when she kept calling me to help her, and I was just like, oh my God, I can't keep adding people, to my list of help, things that need medical attention, right? And all these people. So I couldn't even give a little bit just because I was so overwhelmed. Now, if we have this feeling, I can't give something to you, or I can't empower you in any way because I'm either missing out on something or I'm getting in over my head. And if we're feeling that and it feels totally normal, like it just feels like that's just how life is, then this very likely means that we are in the shadow of our sacral chakra. And the shadow is where we need the healing. It's where we need to shine the light. The shadow of our second chakra is, I need more of something. I need more of something. It is hard for us to show up for others when we cannot show up for ourselves. And so in this shadow, we will feel a void, an empty space that cannot be filled. And in our lives, it might look like, well, I need more of something for my life to be good, right? I need one more workshop, or I need more stuff, or I need more attention and approval. I need to be the favorite. I need to be the most important. I need to be right. And I need, everybody to know how wrong they are and how I'm the right person. And only when I can have those things will I be okay. But then it never is, right? We always need one more thing because we're looking outside of ourselves. When we act on this shadow, we end up paying a heavy price because it will be very hard to trust other people because it can feel like everyone is competing with us, right? They're after our stuff, or they're after our attention, or they're after our music awards, right? We're going to feel like they want too much from us. And if we give to them, we're going to miss out. We will feel threatened. We will see them as outside of the divine. Now, if we are seeing others as outside of the divine, we are seeing ourselves actually as outside of the divine. Now, the way to healing and the way to empowerment is through the corresponding grace of this chakra. And the grace of our sacral chakra is the grace of piety. Now, the grace of the root chakra, the first chakra, is reverence for God. The grace of piety is to demonstrate reverence for God. So we are it's doing more than just acknowledging God is all things, like the all is all. It's more than just acknowledging that. It is actually seeking that, seeking out the light in others, seeking out the divine spark in others. No matter how they eat, vote, pray, or parent, we are choosing to see the light that they truly are. When we can see the light in others, that's how we learn where we really stand in God. Carolyn Myss says, the grace of piety seeks that which is divine in others, and it brings out our spiritual instincts. This is how we create change, first in here, so that we can create change out there, out in the package of our life. When we can uphold someone else's life as sacred, we are empowered. And I don't mean somebody who we already know and love, who agrees with us on every level. I mean, when we can uphold somebody's life as sacred, no matter how they eat, vote, pray, or parent, we become empowered, right? We can tell somebody else, good job. That was amazing. You are brilliant, without feeling like it will cost us. We will offer what we are capable of giving, knowing it won't cost us anything. And we know not to overdo it to get approval, right? That's why we overdo things. We want to be liked. We want to be loved. We want to be seen as like, oh, they're the person who does it all. They're amazing. So I have an affirmation for this chakra in the grace. My light burns brighter when I seek out the light in others. You want to say that with me? My light burns brighter when I seek out the light in others. We're not here to just sit and reflect on our own inner divinity. We are here to seek it out in others. And this is the reason that we are better together. This is the reason that it's not important that we have to be like-minded, right? This is how we are able to be accepting and have an open and welcoming heart, because we see the divine in someone who maybe has a completely different mindset from ourselves. We cannot uphold our sacredness and hold another person in the dark. We cannot uphold our sacredness while we are pointing our finger and judging and blaming and saying how this is all wrong and you've got it wrong. When we put somebody in the dark, we follow them there. Now it's having awareness of how we show in all of our relationships, how we're showing up. Our relationships show us our level of spiritual power and whether or not we're able to call forth our spiritual instincts. To say that my light burns brighter when I seek out the light in others. If this means I call forth greater things into this world when I seek out the light in others, right? Because then we see God as everywhere present, meaning that we can call forth greater things from everything, right? The activity of God can come forth from everything because we're seeking out the wonder of God in everything. Our spiritual instincts are stronger when we seek only the wonder that is God. But this takes effort on our part because we have to concentrate and remind ourselves, God is all things. I too am the activity of God. And every person on this planet is the activity of God. And all of the conditions and all of the events, God is everywhere present in all of those things. No matter what's going on, God is already there. Now, one of my very favorite quotes comes from Meister Eckhart. And I will say this is probably my number one favorite quote. When the soul wants to experience something, she throws out an image in front of her and then steps into it. Our life right now is that image because this is where we are. Our soul imagined this and then stepped into it. And so right here and now, this is where we can ask ourselves, how am I showing up for others? Am I seeking the wonder that is God? Am I calling forth my spiritual instincts? Right? What did I just step into? Right? Did I step into an opportunity to grow and to expand the joy and the love and the light in my life? How am I choosing to see this, right? Or am I maybe focusing on limitation? Am I focusing on the things I don't like? Am I focusing on like, whoa, what do I have to lose here? Right? Because that feels bad to us. It's focusing on the wonders that are God that is going to feel so good, because that's the state of our soul. It is in this moment that we get to remember our divine identity. Right? Remember that our identity as a sacred being is the key to everything. When we live in the grace of piety, we are seeking only the light and we are devoting ourselves to that practice. This is devotion to that. When we seek only the wonder that is God, we call forth the greater things. And this is how we are creating heaven on earth. So remember, you are divinely designed to be doing all of this stuff. You are a one-time, one-of-a-kind cosmic event, and in everything you do, you are blessed. And so it is.